Never late. Never been late, never have been late, never will be late. Yo! Yo, 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 yo! Wait, let me ping Discord. Let me let everybody know. Good to see you all. I pinged a person named EV, not everyone. Everyone. I want to ping everyone. There it is. Oh my God! No. Fuck! There it is. Okay. Let's go! Hey, yo! What's up? What's up? What's up? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's up, Brandon? Tommy Innett's favorite streamer, Ewing. That's what they call me. That is what they call me. Okay. Let's go. I'm doing a Marketing Wednesday because number one, there's a sponsor today. Number two, I'll be gone next week for holidays. Maybe I'll stream from home, but probably I'll be gone. How's everybody doing? This is probably everyone's first Marketing Wednesday. I've never done a Marketing Wednesday. It feels weird to be talking about marketing not on the holy day of Monday. Feels odd. Feels off. Let's fix this light so it's not so. Wait, what are you guys linking? Piggy Smalls, thank you for the 9 months. Eufla, thank you for oh my God, thank you. NFL on Fox, thank you for the 4 months. I can't believe your name is NFL on Fox. That feels like you're just branding yourself for no reason. Downtown JB, thank you for the Prime. War Zombie, thank you for the 3 months. Listen, we have a good Marketing Monday today. It's one of my favorites in a while. Should be a good one. It's blasphemous to talk about marketing not on a Wednesday. It's not marketing though, is it? Right? It's marketing. Marketing's not a word. I think we're all aware that marketing is not a real concept. Sleepy Dreepy, thank you for the continuing gift. JPL Wednesday, thank you for the Prime. Not Edgy, thank you for the Prime. King Clinch, thank you for the Prime. How's everybody doing? What's going on? We're going to start here in a few minutes. What's this? Atrioc, can you do a Marketing Monday about cross-functionality? I work in supply chain, and I would love to know how marketing factors and issues other than business functions. In other business functions. Is that your homework? You trying to give me your homework? Can you do one right now? Can you do one right now? Can you do a Marketing Monday on 8th grade algebra? Specifically, this series of 10 problems that I have due tomorrow by midnight tonight. Yeah, I'm eating kale chips that Ari made me. So there's going to be green stuff in my teeth. All right, get over it. Hey, Big Nate, thank you for the 3 months of Prime. calling up my close personal friend Webster to add marketing to the all-new dictionary. And then you said 0% APR for no reason. I don't understand why that even factored in. Let me get some water. Hey, let's get settled here. I have to make sure everything's set up. I told the brand I would not start until a few minutes after I'd gone live to let everyone filter in. So one thing I will say is we're not doing, we don't have a big intro. There's no wins and fails. I'm going to jump right. Actually, I probably have one fail. Wait, I'm sorry. I have one big fail that I'm going to talk about and then one big win. But it's not a whole separate thing. And then I'm going to jump right into the thing because it's a bigger marketing Monday than usual. Okay? I got one win and one fail. And then we're going to jump right in, and I think it'll be a good one. I'm going to play the music. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to BRB, and then we'll run it. Obviously, it's not Water War Wednesday. Sorry, you guys are saying a lot of stupid shit. I just want to... Guys, look. What is this? What? I was 7 years old when, the Glizinator saved me from a traffic incident using his war training? That's your first message. That's your first message. Your name is Sonic Hedgehog, both spelled wrong. Sonic spelled wrong, Hedgehog spelled wrong, and your first message is, I was 7 years old when the Glizinator saved me from a traffic accident. What are you talking about? Touch grass! Let me get water. I'll be right back. Okay. The Discord ping didn't tell us anything at all. What did it say? I just said Marketing Monday on a Wednesday is live. And then I added everyone. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's a great ping. For real, bro, they be hating when it's your server. So true, King. So true, King. Hey, you build a server, you should add everyone. That's the rule. I'm gonna start adding everyone for anything. I'll add everyone for I had a nice fucking day. I'll just do it on a day I'm not fucking streaming. I'm gonna add everyone just fucking because I feel like it. Hey, how are you guys doing? Add everyone. I don't give two shits. Hey, one thing, mods, can you be extra harsh today? We got Brands in the chat. We got Stream Elements is here watching. Just fucking anyone saying weird shit, fucking smack them out of here, dude. This is a big, all right? So Monka W. I'm serious, dude. Mods, I'm asking. Today you can bring out the riot gear. Yeah, we're gonna make it literally 1984 in here. It's also good because I want the video to not have a bunch of weird stuff in it. Okay, let's see. I'm starting here in probably 6 minutes is when I'll fucking jump into the good stuff. Let me get my wins and fails ready. Actually, wait 1 second. Just chill for a moment. Just let's play a little music. Just chill. Okay. Let's go. Let's play be a dress code? Yeah. You guys are all wearing suits, right? Everyone here is wearing their nicest suit. or like a really fancy dress. You know, whatever, but it needs to be like a black tie, you know? I don't want any of you wearing like hoodies or something. When Marketing Monday is live, I assume everyone dresses up appropriately. I'm butt ass naked. All right, well, put some clothes on. Come on. Come on. Pet, you think of the prime. Daniel Day. Your name's Daniel Day Jewish? Why? It's like a Daniel Day-Lewis parody? What? Why? Cold Talk. Atrioc, I told my grandma you were going to solve world water issues. Did she ask? She's going to mention you at Christmas church for everyone to hear. Great. Great. You guys are coming with the heat today. Appreciate that. Illusion, thank you for the prime. Listen, bro, thank you for the 2 months. Josh thank you for the 6 months. I'm actually on Wall Street right now watching this. Why? It's closed. It's 8:27 p.m. It's 11 p.m. in New York. Why? Are you just a homeless person on the streets of Wall Street? What? It's not open, dude. Miskiff did an impression of you today. You got a link? I want to watch Miskiff's impression of me. Was it like, did he like try to look really jacked and say like really intelligent stuff? Or what? Oh, you got a clip? Let's see. Let's see what the clip is.
Dude, I'm Atrioc.
I hate it already. Let's see what we got here.
Dude, I'm Atrioc. What do you mean you don't know me, Emmy? Was that good? Dude, I'm Atrioc.
No! Obviously that wasn't good. Obviously that wasn't good. The only Atrioc content he's seen is the clip that got on LSF of me and Emmy. That's it. No, it wasn't spot on. Why is he even Atrioc? What was the context? What is the fucking context? Wait, what the hell is this?
Dude, I'm Atrioc.
I'm rewinding. Let's see. Where did this come from?
Dude, every time Hassan says the C word, he should start playing that. Just to stop everyone from fucking screaming and yelling at him. Hassan, you need to do more stuff, let me be honest with you. Weed, give me the hat. For weird. Lice. Cool. I just sniffed lice. Dude, I'm Atrioc.
Bro, Miskiff got ADD for real. Actually, for real, dude. It's like I'm watching 6 TikToks stitched together. When I watch a Miskiff stream, it is literally like, it's like he's acting out 50 different TikToks. They're completely segmented. There is no context. Everything is just a random bit into another random bit. Anyway, I guess. Thanks for the impersonation, Miz. Really appreciate it. Well, today is not gonna be exactly like that. I'll be honest with you. Today's content's not gonna exactly be TikTok friendly. But we'll see. We'll see. Hey, it's 8:30. So I would like to begin with the traditional playing. Oh, food from Ari. Maybe we delay this 5 minutes so I can eat. She just got me some stew. Okay. Well, let's play the song anyway. The traditional playing of the Marketing Monday pre-show theme song by the one and only King Delroy. Ladies and gentlemen, it would be appropriate to bow your head in reverence to one of the greatest songs ever made. The only problem is, this happens every time. He sent me 100 drafts of this song, and I don't remember. There it is. Come on, this has got to be it. Today's Marketing Monday.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's not it. There it is. Today's Marketing Monday. There it is, baby. Let's go. First you bow your head, and then you get loose. Bars. That is the win of the week.
Atrioc. With Atrioc. With Atrioc. Yeah, you know you like it. That's why you're here to see which one of these companies will be marked as tier. Yeah, you've been waiting all week long. It's time to tune in. And since you're listening right now, make sure to invite some friends. Atrioc. With Atrioc.
How is it for you?
Atrioc. With Atrioc.
Look at this king. Look at this king. If you guys don't know King Delroy, who made that song, we literally were doing best jingles one day as a Marketing Monday topic, and we found a fan-made AutoZone jingle from Peter Scott, who was an AutoZone employee at the time. That was so fire. It had like 15 views, and everyone loved it. So I reached out to him, and people started commenting on the video. Viewers of this stream started commenting on his 15-view video saying, "This is fire heat." So he reached out to me, I think. We started talking, and then he ended up making me a jingle, which was amazing. And he might play at my wedding. There's a real chance that guy plays at my wedding. And he's just just an incredibly sweet person. I think I brought him on stream for an interview, and he prayed for chat. Who's the only person to ever do that? Because you guys need prayer. You guys need Jesus badly. And he was the only one to fucking see that you guys could be saved. I personally don't think it's possible. Twitch chat is too far gone, but he jumped in to save you. Stormer, thank you for the Prime. Eli, thank you for the 5 months. Okay. I'm going to begin before I jump into the Marketing Monday proper with the wins and fails. And before I do that, I want to announce. Sorry, 1 second. I want to announce a brand new sponsor to Marketing Monday, Lily Bank. Banking designed for freelancers. Let me just take a moment. Let me make sure everything's set up. Lily Bank is a bank designed for freelancers like myself, or people who have side hustles like myself. They are a pretty awesome new banking app that you can use to easily categorize your expenses from personal and business. So that's what I'm going to be using it for. It'll pop up everything you spend money on, and you can swipe it to personal or business, which makes it much, much, much easier when tax season comes to write off all the things that are related to your side hustle. So if you have a side hustle, if you're a freelancer of any sort, then this app is for you. If you don't, then it's not really. This is mostly for people who are freelancers or side hustlers. It's just a great way to separate your stuff. It also has easy way to track all your expenses. It has easy way to send and receive invoices, which is dope for me because I get invoices from my editors, and it's hard for me to keep track of. I can get all my editor invoices in the app really easily. I'm being honest that I've signed up for the app and I've been using it, and it's awesome. It's a really clean, easy to use app that kind of understands what a freelancer or side hustler wants to use. And so I like them a lot. And so I'm proud to have them as a sponsor, especially for Marketing Monday. If you want to check them out, there is a panel below the stream that you can check out. I think, I need to move this over here, I think. We will be doing a couple quizzes throughout the show. I think like 3 or 4 different quiz questions related to if this might be relevant to you. It'll pop in at different points. But for now, check them out if those things apply to you. I think it's a really cool app. I think it's worth signing up for. And also, if you use it for anything, I think if you just sign up and you end up putting $250 throughout it, they'll add $25 for free. So you get free $25. The only reason it's not at the start is because people were signing up for it Like it got posted on some website and it's being like just signed up by millions of people. So you have to actually use it. People are just taking the $25 and dipping. So yeah, you can get a free 25 if you sign up and use it for, I think, at least $250. So check it out if you are interested in that kind of thing. And thanks to them for sponsoring. We'll talk about more of them during the show. But until then, we need to get into the actual content. So let's start with some wins and fails. I have only one major fail. And it is the saga told entirely through Kotaku articles of Ubisoft's journey into NFTs. Okay? Let's start with this one. Wait. Let's see. Actually. Okay. Well, I don't have the original one, but they announced it. Okay. So first off, if you guys don't know, Ubisoft announced that they're going to be doing NFT inclusions in all of their. Oh, I'm going to keep these live. They're going to do NFT inclusions in all of their games. So like you can buy Ghost Recon. Let's see if I can wait. Here's an example of one. I want you to see what I'm talking about. Yeah, here it is. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. This is a Ghost Recon NFT helmet that requires you to play 6,000 hours of Ghost Recon before you can buy this image. Okay? That is the requirement. Now, that was the launch. Then they followed it up by saying, the Ubisoft boss said, told employees that NFTs are just the beginning. So they launch, it comes out into the world, there's articles about it, and then they say, this is just the beginning. And then, let's get one more article here. This one right here should be perfect. Nobody is buying Ubisoft's garbage Ghost Recon NFTs. So only a few weeks later, they realized that nobody's buying them. Okay? Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. But they doubled down on it. And so only a few days later, we got this article. So many Ubisoft employees have quit, they're calling it the Great Exodus. And finally, I believe this is it. Ubisoft appears to have sold a grand total of 15 NFTs. So they lost all their employees. Their boss doubled down. They spent a ton of man hours and money and time to create this entire network of NFTs for all their games. They sold exactly 15. Probably some of them are scam sale, like weird wash sales or them buying them for themselves. I'm sure the CEO bought a couple. And then finally, after all of the hate they received and the lack of success, Ubisoft says, we understand where NFT hate comes from. Does not understand shit. They haven't even abandoned it yet. And this is a larger story. I mean, NFTs have been a real hot topic in gaming in the past few weeks, as gamers have made their opinion loud and clear. They don't want them. They don't want this shit. Gamers, I mean, they just simply don't want it, and they're making it very well heard. Another big example was Stalker 2. Stalker's one of the most like hidden gem, diehard fan base games of all time, and the sequel was hotly anticipated. And then they announced there was going to be like in-game earning of NFTs. Everyone fucking lost their mind, and now they're removing it because fans uproared. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I think fans are making it very clear they don't want NFTs in video games. And in general, Listen, NFTs already exist in video games. They're called they're called like Fortnite skins. They're called CS:GO knives. Okay? Nobody wants a fucking blockchain edition. We've already got them. We've already got in-game the essential equivalent of NFTs. Okay? You just buy them with in-game currency and you can't transfer them. That's it. But they already function in the same way. And so adding this extra layer of needing a crypto account on top of it and making games about monetization basically for the developer. I mean, NFTs are good for the developer because every time they're resold, they get a cut. That's the fucking Roblox method. But Roblox realized you don't need to make an NFT for that. You just make in-game items that you own and make your game popular. The real problem, larger than this, is that Ubisoft's games are not that popular. I need to do a Marketing Monday taking a deeper dive on some of the legacy developers that are starting to really struggle. And I think Ubisoft's a major one. I think Ubisoft is not adapting to the new world very well in the way that like a Riot might be doing super well. Ubisoft is not. But we'll talk about that later. That was my fail. I'm going to do one more, and this is a simple one because this is not a full wins and fails today. This is a win. I have one major win. Okay? Well, no, actually, you know what? Fuck it. I got a couple. All right. This is a win for millennials. We got our first millennial president of Chile, who apparently announced as he got elected that he's a Swiftie. Let's go, millennials. We got a T-Swift fan in the White House of Chile. I don't know what they call it down there, but Chile. Impeach him. And this is the beginning. Bro, we're going to have fucking presidents who are talking about what Hogwarts house they're in. This is the future we're headed towards. Millennials are going to have a real great next 10 years. The next 10, 20 years are going to be so good for millennials, dude. Everything we love is going to be celebrated over and over again as we start getting in positions of power. It's going to be awesome. I hope we get a Gryffindor. Please, God, let's not get a Slytherin in the Oval Office. And let me give you oh, wait, I actually wanted to give a win on that last subject. Wait, I had to get one more win. So we've talked about the console wars a lot on this stream. I do a lot of wins and fails related to the console wars. I want to say, with every week that passes, I am more and more impressed with the Xbox team. I think the executives on the Xbox side kind of get it. I think they understand where they're at and how they can keep growing, and they keep doing smart things. And one thing that really impressed me was Phil Spencer, who runs the Xbox division, basically said right here that the metaverse and NFTs and crypto and all that doesn't make sense right now. He said people are not asking why it's better for players or creators. They're only asking why it's better for themselves, the developer. And I thought it was a really smart speech. He said that all the pitches seem company focused rather than player focused. And it struck me as someone who's got their finger on the pulse of what gamers actually want. And if you look at what they've been doing with cloud, they had a really great launch of Halo Infinite. They had a really great launch of Forza. And again, in all my predictions, I've said that Sony will win this console war, but it's shaping up to be just incredibly close because they're both doing quite well. And so I just want to say everything I hear from these guys, it doesn't strike me as out of touch. It strikes me as that they know exactly where they're at. They respect their competition, and they're making pretty serious changes to make it better for players. So, yeah, big win for them. Now I think that's it. I don't want to do too many more. I did want to give one more. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, there was a fail. Okay, this is a fail. There was a guy named Bowser. You know how the CEO of Nintendo is named Doug Bowser? Well, there's another guy named Bowser, named Gary Bowser. And he was hacking Switches, and Nintendo sued him. Which is the first time that Nintendo's lawsuits have felt at least thematically appropriate. You know what I'm saying? Usually it's just like them suing a random 8-year-old kid for like drawing fan art of Animal Crossing. At least this time, it feels like they're the hero, you know? Free him? Connor says free him. Anyway, at least they can say they were fighting the fight they should have fought. Although it feels weird that Nintendo's also owned by Bowser. CEO Bowser suing another Bowser doesn't really make a lot of sense. And if you're a Canadian who bought hacked switches, I'm sorry, your pipeline has run dry. They finally got him with a $10 million fine. The fact that he agreed to pay it is interesting. So he agreed to $10 million fine, not necessarily forced on him. I wonder if it's an out-of-court settlement. Either way, he must have made a lot of money off switches. If he can afford if he's a random Canadian hacker, he must have made a good amount of money selling those switches. Okay, wait, I have to get moving here. So let me give you the final win, and this is a major win. This is a really important win. This is probably the most important win in all of business and marketing and the world of the past week. Me. I'm rank 578, bitch. Holy moly, I'm basically top 500. How the fuck am I so nasty at Age of Empires? I'm like one win from top 500. If I didn't have to do Marketing Monday today, I'd be 500 right now. I'm nasty. I'm a god gamer. Top 500. And by the way, if you count all the Smurfs, top 100 is mostly Smurfs. I'm probably top 500 right now. Top 500 human beings playing only China, who are bad. I have never played a China mirror in my entire fucking life. It feels like it's 99% Mongols and French. Anyway, to my own horn, top 100. It's incoming. I'm not going to get it. I've got the gold now. I'm going to get top 500, which means I'm going to be fucking nasty at this game. But that's it. That's it for the wins. Let's get into the actual show, Marketing Monday. But we can't transition from wins and fails to the actual show without a little bit of juice in between. I would like you guys to tag yourself as we jump into Marketing. Welcome to Marketing Monday. Welcome to Marketing Monday on a Wednesday. Today's topic, the streaming wars. And I'm not talking about the ones where YouTube buys Ludwig or Dr. Disrespect gets banned. I'm talking about the ones that are about 1,000 times bigger. Instead of $1 million deals, we're talking about $1 billion deals. We're talking about the dominant way people consume media currently in the 21st century. That is streaming services. Let's jump into it. Today's topic. Oh, wait. Switch screens. The streaming wars. But before we jump into it, I think I have to do one question from my sponsor. Before we jump into it, let's do the sponsor question. Keith, are we ready for that first sponsor question? Let's go to this and see if we can make this a little bigger. And Keith, are we ready for that first sponsor question? He's telling me bump up the size a little bit of this thing. Yes, sir. Toss the branded alerts up. They're up, I think. Yeah, they're up. Branded alerts are up, my friend. And yep, that's it. Okay. Step one. Do you use an accountant? Yes or no? Simple question. Exclamation point yes or no if you use an accountant. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm asking a quick question from Keith. Keith, if you have a. Well, if you don't use an accountant. Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Keith. Yeah. So if you don't use an accountant, then Willy Link might even be a better app for you. It makes it a lot easier to track things that accountants normally take care of. For example, I don't have an accountant. I used Tax Ninja that one time, which required me to skateboard through all of San Francisco and beg him on the last day where taxes were due for help. But if you are like me and are often unprepared for tax season, then Lily Bank makes it a lot easier. If you don't have an accountant, it basically tracks all your expenses and separates them from business and personal, and just generally makes it a lot easier to keep your stuff in line and in order. It can also help you with your own personal accounting, which is great. I think a lot of people, and this is myself included, leave out a lot of things that could be expense in their taxes. Basically, like for example, just me as a streamer, I could deduct like the cost of this camera. I could deduct the cost of upgrading my PC. I could deduct everything I spend on Quack, which is nothing. $5 a year. All that stuff. And easy way to keep track of it is with Lily Bank. I can just swipe it left and right to either business or personal. So yeah, again, I recommend checking out the app if any of this applies to you. Easy. It's free, and you can sign up in the link below. That's the first question. All right, let's get back to the topic. So, the streaming wars. This is probably the biggest conflict going on in the world of tech today. It is the most money being spent. It has the most competitors. As of this year, everyone has arrived to the party. For a long time, it was only Netflix. Then it was Netflix and Hulu. Then it was Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. Then Disney Plus. Now, as of this year, I think that everyone that's going to arrive has arrived. There is no future streaming services coming. Peacock and Paramount were the last to the party, and now they're here. There's no big Hollywood studio holding out. Everyone has figured out how they're going to approach the war, and now they're doing it. But they all have different goals. They all have different strategies. They all have different weaknesses. They have different strengths. And it's hard to determine from the outside who's going to succeed, who's going to come out on top. What does coming out on top even mean for some of these guys? Can some of them survive as middle players? Can some of them squeak along the bottom? Are some of them going to go out of business? Netflix is doing great, but they have a ton of debt. How is that going to factor in? We are going to dive in today and look at all the strategies of all these companies and figure out who's got the best chance of making it. Starting, of course. No, I'm sorry. One more thing. I have to say who... Any of these guys could be a winner, but there's one guaranteed loser. There is one guaranteed loser. No, it's not Quibi. Quibi's already dead. Yes, they are a loser. Good call. Quibi is dead. They are a loser. But there is one guaranteed loser, and that is cable companies. The traditional TV. Traditional TV usage is dropping among every demographic, except for old people. If you're 65 plus, there's barely any drop. But if you're 49, there's a steep. Everyone else is dropping. Okay, cable's seeing dramatic collapses, and this is leading to a lot of interesting knock-on effects. Because right now, the only way to watch sports is with cable, and sports used to be the one thing that kept cable alive. But now, as people begin to shift away, people are just watching less sports. Sports is getting hurt as a byproduct. I actually want to do a separate Marketing Monday on how this is part of the reason that Gen Z in general is like turning away from sports. They just don't watch it. They just have no way to watch it. Why is there an 1834 and 1849? It includes the same group twice, but also older people. 1849 basically means all standard American adults. Or actually, it's not American. This is global. All adults, and 1834 is like younger adults. Sports on Twitch. Yeah. We'll talk about that. Anyway, so yeah, they're done. But now let's move on. So this is like the setting the stage. Okay, TV usage is in free fall. 7 big competitors, all with billions of dollars and tons of content, are showing up to the battlefield. First up, we have the lion. We have the king of the jungle. We have Netflix. Okay? And I want to play a little sound that I had Quack pull for me. Quack, where did you do this? There it is. Okay, we'll just put it right here. Wait, Quack, that's fucking... Quack, that's Roku! Quack, I don't want the Roku sound! Who the fuck knows about Roku? Oh, there it is. There, thank God. Okay. Play one more time. Iconic! Okay, we're in Netflix. Let's talk about Netflix. But I don't want to talk about the Netflix that you're thinking of. Not this Netflix. Let's talk about... Wait, fuck. Let's talk about this Netflix. Okay? Let's flash back to 2007. Watch this commercial. Play this commercial, please. Play this commercial, please. Play this commercial, please. This is a picture of a commercial. I want to... Hold. Hold. I repeat, hold. Can you just hold? Would you guys mind holding? You just hold? It would be awesome if you would just hold for 1 second.
If you're busy like me.
If you would just hold for 1 second, please. This Netflix I want to talk about. I would like to talk about this Netflix. Let's flash back 2007.
If you're busy like me, going to the video store is a hassle. With Netflix, just make a list of the movies you want to see. And in about 1 business day, you'll get 3 delivered to your house. Keep them as long as you want, without late fees. Finish one, return it in this prepaid envelope, and they'll send you another movie from your list.
Can you get that?
Mommy's doing a TV commercial!
Netflix. All the movies you want, $22 a month, and no late fees.
$22 a month
Fees.
for a DVD rental service. Does anyone here remember this Netflix? Who here used this Netflix? Who had this? No late fees. Remember that? The Blockbuster killer? I wonder, some of you were actually too young to even have this Netflix, and it wasn't even that long ago. This was what Netflix was in the early 2000s. They were a DVD rental service which cost $22 a month, way more than now, to get DVDs delivered directly to your home, and it was successful. This was their big this was their business. Sorry, okay, but then their CEO noticed 2 things that I've encapsulated in this very simple chart. Every year in the early 2000s, postage got more expensive, which means it costs more and more for Netflix to send out these DVDs. At the same time, broadband speeds got less and less expensive and faster. So internet was getting faster. The internet was getting faster, and postage was getting more expensive. So they realized, okay, our business doesn't make sense for the long term. Let's pivot to streaming. So they started a dual service where they kept the DVD rental service, but they also added free streaming. It was called Watch Now. You could open up your it wasn't even an app at the time. You just open up Netflix on the browser, and when you're choosing to rent the DVD, you could also choose Watch Now and just watch it online. Now, I remember it being extremely laggy and not a great service, but it took off. It was pretty successful. And they had a key advantage. They were a first mover. So let's, 1 second. They were a first mover. So they have what Amazon had in cloud. They have what Twitch has in live streaming. They have what Apple had in iPhones and smartphones. Okay. If you're the first mover, consumers see you as the default, and you're ahead of the competition. So you get certain key advantages. In this case, it was that Hollywood had no fucking idea what the value of their products was worth. So they got Friends on Netflix. Friends is one of the most popular, valuable shows. People binge it like crazy. Even Gen Z, who never grew up with this, loved this show. They got it for $30 million a year, which is nothing. That's nothing. That's like Mr. Beast's budget. Mr. Beast could have bought Friends at the time. You know what I'm saying? So they got Friends. They got tons of movies. They had basically early Netflix back in 2007 to 9. If you guys remember, had almost everything on it. Almost every movie, almost every show. Early Netflix was the complete package. But wait, sorry. Hollywood didn't know. Hollywood didn't know the value. They didn't understand that online was the future. They thought they could make a quick buck selling this to Netflix. So they watched it online. They didn't think it mattered. Turns out it did matter and allowed Netflix to go really quickly. So right now, Netflix is doing amazing. Netflix, at this time, 2009, 10-ish, they're killing it. Everyone's using Netflix. They have no competition. They have everything. And they have this side DVD rental business that's still churning along. Okay? And at that point, their stock is already worth like massive amounts. Then around 2010 and 11, things go really wrong. They're so happy with how streaming is going, they think, let's get rid of this DVD rental business. And they spun it off as a company called Quickster. I don't even know if you guys even remember this. The DVD rental business of Netflix was spun off into a separate company called Quickster. And people at the time, this is like 2009 or 10, people still use DVD rentals. DVD rentals were still a big part of the business. Netflix actually made more money, even when streaming was like this era. They made more money from DVD rentals than streaming because streaming was like a loss-leading service. So people rioted. Customers rioted that they were no longer getting both in one. And they left Netflix and Quickster by the tens of thousands. People were by millions. People were dipping left and right. It was a disastrous split. And at the same time, Hollywood started waking up. Right as Netflix is looking extra weak, Netflix is like, wait a minute. I mean, Hollywood was like, wait. Hey, remember that deal we had for Friends? Can we, we're going to go ahead and cancel that. And then everyone else was charging them more. So, here's an article from 2011. Netflix is losing Stars Play. Over 1,000 Stars movies, TV shows to be cut. Netflix started losing all of their stuff at once, okay? All of Hollywood started waking up and saying, hey, you better pay us like 100x more or you're not getting our stuff. And we're going to put it online ourselves. Luckily, making your own streaming service is very hard and very slow. And Hollywood was not ready to make their own. So there was no competition yet for Netflix, but they couldn't keep this stuff on Netflix. Okay? So right around 2011, this is what happens. And Netflix is facing another crisis. So much like in the early days, they have another crisis where it's like, okay, this could be the end of the company. DVDs are dying. We no longer have them online. So they came up with this solution. Oh, by the way, this is the stock. This is the stock in late 2011. It went from 300 to about like 50. It was a 75-80% drop. Netflix was almost a dead company in 2011. After this is the Quickster. Right here is Quickster. Right here at the top is when they announced Quickster. Everything. This would have been the best buy the dip of all time, by the way, if you'd have bought right here. So they have this quote. This is from Chief Content Officer Ted Sarandos. I've mentioned this in previous Marketing Mondays. It's one of the best business quotes I think I've ever heard. To me, I think this is one of the most foresight, the best instances of foresight I've ever seen. This guy went on to become CEO of Netflix, by the way. He was a content officer at the time. He said, our goal is to become HBO faster than HBO could become us. And what he was saying was, at the time, was that HBO makes amazing original content that they own, but they haven't yet figured out streaming. We've figured out streaming, but we don't own anything. So as Hollywood steals everything away from us, we need to figure out how to make our own content quickly, or we're going to be at the mercy of them forever. And HBO and other people like that are going to eat our lunch. It was a very genius, very, very genius thought. And it led to them creating their first original series, House of Cards. Now, I've redacted one of the actors, but you might know who it is. They launched House of Cards, and they was very innovative. So what they had was the entire season released from minute one. It was the first time people had done this. You could binge the season, and they knew this in a way that Hollywood didn't because they'd already been streaming for a while, and they noticed everyone likes to binge. People didn't even know, Hollywood didn't even have the concept of binging figured out yet until Netflix looked at the data for streaming. So they released House of Cards. It's a wild success. All of a sudden, they've got good press pickup. They've got positive spin on the stock. Subscribers are sticking around longer. People are signing up to check out House of Cards. All of a sudden, okay, this is working. Let's double down. So this guy, you can't really see him. I'll act out his face. Hey, he's the most powerful talent agent in the world right now. He's the guy that Ari Gold from Entourage was based off of. His name is Ari Emanuel. He's the most powerful. He owns Endeavor, the largest talent agency in the world. At the recent Code conference, he said the phrase, the total addressable market of content is infinite. Basically, what that means is if you have amazing content, total addressable market is like a concept used to determine how big your business idea can be. For example, if you come up with an idea that's like really good for welders or golfers. Let's say you come up with a better club for golfers, okay? Your total addressable market is all golfers, but it's not all people. The average person doesn't give a shit, okay? The average person doesn't care. So your total addressable market is how big the market is for what you're making. And what he said, quite prophetically, is that content is basically everyone on earth. If you make a good enough show or a good enough piece of media or a good enough book, there is no limit to how far that can go. You could sell it to almost everybody on earth. And so Netflix is really attempting to test that theory by spending way more money than they have. For the past 10 years, Netflix has gone like $20 billion into debt. They've issued junk bonds to get $20 billion of debt to just buy content. Now, they don't make that money. Netflix does not have that money. Netflix is making all of these originals, Stranger Things, everything, off of debt. And they're just hoping that they can get big enough to get out of that. And one of the best examples of that working, by the way, is their stock price, which is, you can't even see that dip anymore. Remember the Quickster dip? That's here. This is where they are now. This is where they are now. So all of this was debt fueled, but they are growing their way out of the debt through pure content. And one of the best examples of that working is Squid Game. Now, Squid Game was a recent launch. As I've mentioned, you got to see this. Sorry, let's move here. You can see it right here. Squid Game, recent launch. The most successful launch of an original series of all time. Netflix's biggest launch in history, the most Googled thing ever. I think it was so successful that, yeah, it was successful. It was so successful globally that internet companies in Korea were suing Netflix because they had to deliver Squid Game on people's. The traffic was too high. The telecom companies were suing Netflix because they didn't expect to have to actually deliver unlimited broadband to their customers. Everyone was watching Squid Game at the same time, and they got pissed. It was such a global phenomenon. And importantly, by the way, and one more example is that this is new learners in the US studying Korean. Yeah, right as Squid Game comes out, people start studying Korean en masse. Now, I'm not sure how many of them stuck with it, but at the time, that's cultural impact. That's cultural impact for a show. And what's important is this show did not cost a lot to make. This show only cost $28 million to make, which again is within Mr. Beast. But in fact, I think Mr. Beast probably spent more on his Squid Game per episode than Netflix did. Which is insane, but it worked. What I'm saying is it worked. So they spent $28 million for this show. It's been viewed over 22 billion times. Netflix had a massive engagement increase, and it grew exponentially. But what's unique about Netflix's strategy here, and what makes them different from every other streaming service, is that this was produced locally in South Korea. And this is what's the big thing that's different about Netflix going into the next 5 years. Okay? Netflix realized that as they grow and more people show up to be competition, all of their competitors, Disney, HBO, Paramount, they're all bidding the same content in Hollywood. Okay? Everyone's buying the same content in Hollywood, and it's getting more and more expensive. If you are like a Leo DiCaprio or you're a Steven Spielberg, Steven Spielberg is a great example because Spielberg said he didn't want Netflix to be included at the Emmys, and then 2 years later, signed a deal with them. Oh, at the Oscars, I'm sorry. Spielberg said, I don't think streaming services should be at the Oscars, and then 2 years later, he signed a deal with them. Okay? Because the money coming is fantastical. So all that stuff is starting to get more and more powerful. And so Netflix has a strategy using my favorite word, glocal. Okay? We're talking about glocal. Let me give you this. So this is Netflix doubling down. So $27 million what Squid Game cost. This is how much they're spending next year. Okay? Nobody else is spending $1 billion to create Korean-only shows. At this rate, we're going to get, 30x new Korean shows. Every single market that Netflix operates in, they're spending money like crazy to create content that is compelling locally, but can be sent globally. And this is an entirely new philosophy. For the most of Hollywood's history, stuff was exported globally, but it was all made in Hollywood. So you'd have Spider-Man, you'd have Star Wars, etc., but you'd make it in Hollywood, and then you'd translate it and put it out globally. But now they're realizing there is cheap, good talent in all of the countries they operate in. And there's a lot of viewers, a lot of subscribers. They don't have to make everything in LA. And so Netflix is doubling down on the strategy of building talent all over the world and then exporting great shows from, Money Heist is from South America, Squid Game is from Korea. They're making all these shows over the world and they're exporting them globally. And audiences are still watching them. It was a long time considered impossible to get American audiences to watch a Korean subtitled show. And they did. Money Heist is from Spain. I'm sorry, from Spain. Money Heist is Spain. Yeah, I'm sorry, Spain. So that's local. Okay? And you'll notice it with this example. So I'm sort of making it smaller here. But Netflix is available in 191 countries. Apple TV in 107, Disney Plus in 54, HBO Max in 40, Paramount in 39, and Peacock in the United States only. So if you're Netflix and you're competing with Peacock, why try to outbid them on a few things that are only relevant to Americans when you could win the entire globe? They can't even compete with you in these countries, and you could make stuff way cheaper. This is where Netflix's key competitive advantage going forward is. This is how they, again, time after time, Netflix has been presented with a pretty big challenge that could threaten their company. In this case, it's the fact that there's a million new competitors that are driving up the cost of content. They're already going into debt, so they're expanding globally for this global strategy. It's really smart. It's Netflix's new path forward. Number of languages supported. Netflix 37, Disney 16, HBO Max 4, Hulu 2. Okay? 2 languages. You're not going to compete globally with 2 languages. Peacock probably 0. Bro, I support more than 2 languages? Yeah, well, then you're beating Hulu. So this is one of the things people don't talk about when they're talking about how Netflix is adapting to the changing competitive landscape. And this is why I think they're one of the best positions going forward. Not because they have the most subscribers now, but because they've built out this global infrastructure. They're fighting for every consumer in every market. And that means even if they don't, gain a lot of ground in America, it doesn't matter as much. They can have a bunch of cheap, great shows that Americans will still love, created all over the world. And it's also why if you're someone who's got a lot of talent, let's say you're a Spielberg or you're a DiCaprio or you're like someone who's going to make a great movie, you kind of want it to be on Netflix because you're going to reach so many more people. You'll be a global star rather than maybe just an American one. And that has proven itself out with this. So I'm going to go, let's see if I can, is it worth it to go full screen here? Actually, I think smaller screen actually works because then you guys can actually read it. So we'll just do this. This is global demand. Now, if you go to America only, this is actually way more even. People have their own favorite shows and all these different services. But if you zoom out to global level, Netflix has more demand than all of the rest of the other shows combined. And this is demand for the originals. This is not demand for like full size of the library, or this is not subscribers. This is like, if you pull people on what they're most excited about for original content, Netflix has more than the rest of the services combined. Okay? So they're uniquely positioned for success. And that shows out with this. So this is the final piece of the Netflix puzzle. And I think it's one of the most important. This is a pretty confusing graph at first, but let me explain it. It's about churn. Churn is the idea of if you sign up for a service, watch something, and then leave. Let me give you the best example. If churn goes up, that's bad. Okay? This black line right here is HBO Now. And in May 2019, they had a massive spike in churn. What happened in May 2019? Does anyone know? What happened in May 2019 that made everyone quit HBO? Game of Thrones. Yeah. The terrible finale and ending of Game of Thrones. Whether they ruined it or not, I mean, it was over. And the second it was over, everyone was like, okay, great. Game of Thrones is over. I don't need HBO Max anymore. So they left. They just dipped. And there's a big spike in Hulu around here. And what you'll see is almost every streaming service outside of Netflix has these big churn spikes once their top show ends. They might get a hit here and there. You might get The Mandalorian, or you might get, Game of Thrones, you might get whatever. But once it's over, people binge it and they leave. Netflix does not have that. Their highest peak of churn is below the lowest of everybody else. Okay? They're steady about 2%. Netflix is being considered by customers as like a bill. It's like electricity. It's like water, electricity, and Netflix. It's something that you don't necessarily think about. It's just something that it's a utility. It's something you just have to have. And if they can keep that default position and reduce churn, it gives them a massive advantage over everybody else. Because even if someone else gets a hit, it's like they keep Netflix, they sign up for the new service, they watch the show, and they leave. They don't drop Netflix for that new thing and keep it. And that's what giving them the competitive advantage so far. And what's allowing them to so far grow their way out of their debt. Now, if this growth slows, that's their only weakness. I want to say that overall, Netflix is lion. They're the king of the jungle. The only weakness they have is if the growth starts to slow, people eat into their market share, their global strategy doesn't work, then eventually this debt's going to catch up with them because they're not rich. They are not like, they don't have the money that an Apple has. They don't have money that an Amazon has. They don't have the money that a Google has. They don't make a ton of money yet. And so they can only raise prices if they keep great quality, low churn. So it depends. Let's go to person 2. Let's go to Prime Video. Speaking of rich as hell, let's talk about somebody that's actually rich. Let's talk about a company that has an entirely different strategy. Let's talk about a company that really puts money at the first and foremost. And let's see if I can get the intro that Quack got me. Amazon Originals. Let's get into it. Prime Video. So far, Amazon doesn't have a major hit. They don't have Squid Game. They don't have Tiger King. They have a large library size that's bigger than almost everyone else's combined, full of amazing stuff, crap stuff, whatever. They just added all to the pile. But sorry. And they are not the king of the jungle yet. They're like the 800-pound gorilla. They're made of pure muscle. They have a ton of money. And their current strategy of taking over Hollywood seems to be that Jeff Bezos has his girlfriend flirt with celebrities, and then he threatens to murder them. Okay? That's his current strategy. Invincible and the Boys are not as big as those other shows, but yes, they're doing well. They're big. They're on Prime, but they're not as big as Squid Game. Anyway, their current strategy is the honeypot with Jeff Bezos's girlfriend. It's sort of the carrot and the stick. Okay, he's got his girlfriend come out, you lure him in, and then he threatens him with his newly buff body and steep cliffs. And that might work. It's a strong strategy, but it's a risky one. Okay, but if it doesn't work. If this doesn't work, they have a powerful backup. Money. Lots and lots and lots of money. That is their powerful backup, okay? They have a lot more money than almost anyone else. Sorry. And with that money, again, maybe I should just move my camera like over here. We'll see. You can see, this is library size. So if you'll notice, Disney Plus, pretty small. Peacock, a little bigger. HBO Max, a little bigger. Hulu, a little bigger. Netflix, a lot bigger. Prime Video, bigger than all of them combined. There is more stuff on Prime Video than any other streaming service. It's not all good stuff. They've got a bunch of random shows from the 80s and 90s. They got a bunch of random movies, but they have more. They've purchased almost everything that's available cheaply. They've bought it all. Okay? It's a massive, massive market size. They've tossed a lot of money at the problem. So the raw library size of this everything store dwarfs everyone else combined. And they're not stopping there. So look at this. Recently, Jeff Bezos spent $8.5 billion to buy MGM just to get the rights to James Bond. Okay? I got this great... $8.5 billion just to own James Bond. And that's tough money. I mean, again, Netflix's content budget for the past year is massive, but it was only $17 billion. So that's half of what Netflix spent on content for the whole year, just for James Bond, to add to Amazon's piles. They have a lot of money, okay? Also, as an added fuck you, Jeff Bezos also bought the Warner estate, which was basically the biggest, most prestigious mansion in all of Hollywood. Just kind of as a not subtle fuck you to Hollywood to say I own the place now. Yeah, it's from the Warner Brothers. It used to be owned by the most powerful family in Hollywood. Now he's saying that's me, okay? I'm here. I'm the dog. And he bought this kind of ugly mansion for $165 million. I don't even think he lives there. I'm pretty sure he spends most of his time in Seattle, but he just bought this mansion anyway because he's got that kind of money. I want to say one more thing. This purchase is kind of crazy when you think about it. This is a 100-year-old studio that has legacies of amazing content. One of the most powerful studios in Hollywood history. And Jeff Bezos essentially bought it to sell more toilet paper. Because that's the strategy here. The thing that makes Amazon unique among all their streaming services is they don't really care about the content. Unlike Netflix, which is a content play purely, first and foremost, Amazon really only cares about the churn rate on Prime subscriptions. If 2% of people don't subscribe to Prime or like keep Prime because of Amazon Prime Video, that's worth it. They can throw as much money as they want at this, and they don't care if it makes money back. All they care is that you stick around with Prime. Prime is a bigger deal to them. And what they're sort of doing is they're featurizing the idea of content. To Amazon Prime, content is not a business on its own. It's something you use to help your toilet paper sales business and your toothbrush sales business and your book sales business and all that do better. All they care about is that doing better. If you're in Prime and you're buying stuff on Amazon and you're using one-day shipping, that is important to them, and they'll give you a bunch of movies and stuff for free to keep that going. And so that makes them unique in all streamers because they can spend a lot more money and not care. And so speaking of a lot more money, this is a quote from a deep dive on their new show, Lord of the Rings. Money, by the standards of any other studio in the history of television, by the standards of any other studio in the history of television, was no issue. Amazon just had to find the right project. So Jeff Bezos personally demanded, he went to his executives, and he personally demanded his own Game of Thrones. Jeff Bezos said, I want us to have our own Game of Thrones. I don't care what it costs. This is a true story. And so to hedge their bets, because the boss is asking, they didn't just go for one, they went for two. And they spent $1 billion alone on Lord of the Rings. Then they spent another, they spent $1 billion just to buy the rights. And then they're spending like another $250 million just to make the show. Lord of the Rings is already set to be the most expensive show of all time, and it hasn't even been made yet. Okay? Then at the same time, they spent another $250 million, the amount of Game of Thrones final season, on Wheel of Time. Did you guys know Wheel of Time? Because it's already out and I haven't even heard of it. They're spending more money than the biggest season of Game of Thrones, the most expensive, on Wheel of Time currently. And no one's even talking about it. Okay? They're throwing an absolutely ludicrous amount of money into the market to try and get a hit. They want to hit badly. Because right now, that's been the main thing they're missing. Again, The Boys is good, Invincible's good, but they haven't quite hit the cultural consciousness the way that like a Tiger King, a Squid Game, a Game of Thrones has. He wants that hit. That's the one thing they've been tough to wrap their minds around. Oh, sorry. Yep, that's it. So, that's the main strategy they have, is that basically for them, content is not a business by itself. For them to win, all they need to do is keep Prime churn down, and they'll spend almost any amount of money to do it. But which also means, there's a thing called skin in the game. Netflix has skin in the game. The content needs to be good to save their business. Because Amazon doesn't need the content to be good, no one on their side is really passionate about making good content, which means a lot of their shows end up worse than they could be. Okay? On the exact opposite of that spectrum is HBO Max. But first, I want to take a quick break and do one more question from Lily Bank. We're talking about HBO Max, but I want to do one more Lily Bank question. Lily Bank, do we have a question? Can't Amazon just buy Netflix? No, no shot. Netflix is a $271 billion company. They are worth about as much as Disney. No. Amazon is worth more, yes, but you cannot buy. Freelancers, do you think you've saved enough for your 2021 taxes? Yes, no, or taxes? I don't know if any of you are freelancers. Whichever ones of you that are freelancers, if you've saved enough for your taxes, do you think you have? Yes, no, or maybe. Now, for me, I've seen this a lot with streamers. It's very common, not just with Ludwig, but especially with smaller streamers, actually, because they don't have the money to just pay their way out of it. The problem is Twitch pays you out all your money. YouTube pays out all your money, but you don't take the taxes out of it. And so you just spend that money thinking it's yours. And then the end of the year comes and a gigantic tax bill is owed. And if you don't have anything saved, you're kind of screwed. This happens to small streamers a lot. They get hit with huge tax bills. And Lily Bank actually helps a lot with that as an easy way to pre-save. You can have it already pre-cut out, whatever your tax amount is, and save it from your bank account as your money comes in. And that way you're not surprised when tax season rolls around. So check out Lily Bank if that interests you. And if you are spamming taxes and you are not 8 years old, I would be worried because it is coming and you will have to pay it. So check them out. Link in the description below, in the panel below the video. Let's get back to the content. HBO Max. So I mentioned the strategy for Amazon is money. Money, 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 nothing but money, infinite amounts of money. But money isn't everything, which is good because HBO Max doesn't have a lot of it. They have a lot less. What they do have, though, what they have that Amazon doesn't is talent. They've got a great talent development program. This is a picture. Let's make it smaller here for a second. Of how much these three services spent per Emmy. Okay? HBO spent about $72 million for each Emmy they received. Netflix spent about $333 million for each Emmy. And Amazon Prime Video spent about $500 million for each Emmy. That means to get high quality content, Amazon has to spend almost 10x more because they're just not as attractive. The best directors, the best actors, everyone is more likely to want to work with HBO. They want to work with HBO because HBO understands talent. They understand how to make a good product. They understand how to give the creatives room to run. Anyway, they're just very good at talent development. And as such, they've made shows like Succession and Game of Thrones and outside of the final season and The Wire and Sopranos and all of that. And they've really punched above their weight class, basically. HBO has been managed to punch above their weight class. Despite having less money, they've had more hits for what they've spent. Now, is that enough? It's tough to say. So, recently, they introduced something called Project Popcorn. When HBO was acquired by AT&T, Project Popcorn is a release of. This was the big innovation. This is what made HBO different. Project Popcorn is the strategy that HBO has. It was in the early days of the pandemic. Okay, the early days of the pandemic. Things were not going so good for HBO Max. Other streamers were doing better. They said, fuck it. We're going to drop every Warner Brothers movie, day and date, same as theatrical release, online. Okay? So when Dune comes out in theaters, you can instead watch it as it's meant to be watched on a Samsung smart fridge. Okay? The same day. This is how I watched it at Stan's house. This was the big innovation, okay? And it's been actually quite successful. Quite successful. Because HBO Max is owned by WB, they've been able to put out, Wonder Woman, Dune, a bunch of other, bigger movies. I think The Matrix is out there right now, and you can watch it all same day. Now, other companies either don't have theatrical studios, like let's say Amazon Prime, or they are afraid of doing this, like Disney. Disney's afraid of doing this because obviously they make a ton of money from theatrical releases. So this was like one of the big innovations that has enabled HBO Max to stay competitive, is they have same-day release movies and then some great content from the shows they run. So that's given them a second chance in this war. They were kind of on the way out, to be quite honest. And there's still an uncertain future because everyone else is either starting to catch up or realize this is a bad idea. So the next few years are going to determine whether this same-day release strategy is actually good and makes money, or if it's only good for the customer but actually loses money. Because one thing Disney has said, not publicly but privately, is that they used to be able to sell you the same thing like 4 times. So I don't know if you recall, but like normally you'd go to the theater and watch Frozen, and then you'd go home and buy the DVD for Frozen, and then maybe the DVD would break and you'd buy Frozen with the bonus features. Or you know what I'm saying? That's what families would have to do. And they'd also sell you some Frozen merch on top of that. Or you'd buy the Frozen TV or the Frozen TV show or the spinoff or whatever. Or you'd buy like that. That's sort of how they could milk you on the same IP a bunch of times. But if you are a family that just buys Disney Plus and gets all that for free for one fee, they're making way less money off you than they used to. And so they're kind of upset about it. So time will see whether or not this strategy actually works. But if it does, it's been very successful for HBO. Speaking of Disney, let's talk about Disney. Disney Plus. And when we talk about Disney, we talk about 3 companies: Disney, ESPN, and Hulu, because all of these companies, if you don't know, are owned by Disney. Hulu is not its own entity in the streaming wars. Hulu exists for one reason. Things that are not brand appropriate for Disney or things that already have a contract with other companies go on Hulu. That's it. Hulu is not going to win this war. Hulu will not exist eventually. Hulu only exists to have a separation of some content from Disney Plus. Disney owns all of this, okay? Making Disney a fearsome competitor. You can, in fact, buy all of these services as one bundle for the same price as Netflix. You can buy all 3 of them at like $15 a month, same as Netflix, and you get all of them. So Disney's strength, okay, is their world-class S-tier IP. They have a deeper bench than everyone else in streaming, and it's not close. Okay? Let me give you an example. They have Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, Disney. Okay? They have stars. They have an absolute massive bench of beloved IP. Right now, the biggest franchise in the world is Marvel, okay? Like 80% of the box office for the past few years has been Marvel tickets. Marvel's massive. They own that. No one else can compete with that. For example, Red Notice was the biggest movie on Netflix this year. Red Notice is no Spider-Man. I love The Rock. I love Dwayne. Red Notice was a big hit. But I wanted to have him holding The Rock's head decapitated, but I didn't know if that was too far for the brand. So I just put the cover there. But anyway, Spider-Man's already on pace to be the first and only billion-dollar movie. It's phenomenally successful. Again, Red Notice, a ton of viewers, but who's talking about it? It doesn't have the cultural impact. It doesn't have the revenue generated the same way that some of Disney's biggest hits do. Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar movies. They're just bigger. They have a better bench. They have the best world-class IP. The Red Notice expanded universe does not quite have the same ring to it. It may get a sequel, but I don't think it's going to have the same impact that Disney has. So that's Disney's strength, but it's also their weakness, okay? Because while they're very good at this stuff, it's a look at the challenges they're facing going forward. Let me explain. Okay? So, first of all, this is Top 10 Film Studios 2019. Disney makes more money at the theater than almost every other studio combined. Okay? Disney has dominated theaters for the past few years, but we're talking about streaming wars. Okay? So that's the problem. This is the problem. If you're doing this good in theaters, it becomes very hard internally to justify releasing something on a streaming service to give it power. And so, and when they do that, they get sued. So, for example, let's go back to Spider-Man real quick. Spider-Man's not coming out on Disney Plus because Spider-Man's under contract with Sony, who's contract with Stars. So they're not going to get Disney Plus for 18 months. they have no, yeah, I said doo-doo. Yeah, Spider-Man is not coming on Disney Plus for 18 months. And Scarlett Johansson is suing them when they try to release Black Widow. So the problem is Disney's like this big, gigantic Titanic ship, and it's hard to turn. It's very hard to turn the wheel. They make so much money from the way things currently are that they have to cannibalize themselves to grow Disney Plus. If they were to say, like, we're releasing Frozen 2 and it's exclusive to Disney Plus and we're dropping it tomorrow, massive. Every family in America would need it. Okay? Every family that's got like a daughter in America would need it. If they were to release a new major Marvel movie same day on Disney Plus, massive for free with subscription. But they can't do that because they would lose too much money from the way things are. And so while other companies that are struggling can be more nimble, like HBO and Netflix, Disney doesn't want to lose what they already have. Frozen 3. Sorry, Frozen 3. Like a sequel. Spider-Man 4, okay? Yeah, even Shang-Chi, which they released on Disney, required you to spend an extra $30 because they didn't want to lose the extra money. Now, if they were able to do it where it was like, hey, you get it all. If you just pay the normal subscription fee, you get all of this stuff for free, all included, they could crush, but they don't have the balls to do that because it would cut into what they currently have too much. And even when they do it, like for Black Widow, they get sued. Scarlett Johansson sues them for breach of contract. They're just locked into a lot of contracts that want to keep things the way things are. So Disney's advantage, they have the greatest IP, and their disadvantage, their weakness is that they're slow. For example, just to illustrate this example, Olaf's Frozen Adventure on Blu-ray costs more than a month of Disney Plus. So if they put everything on Disney Plus, instead of you buying all of this stuff separately, you just get it all for cheap. They're losing so much money. They're losing so much money when they give it all to you on Disney Plus. And why they need to do that, because the world is changing. People want this stuff. They're going to find this stuff no matter what. They're not going back to this world. It's very hard to pull the leech off, to stop the blood sucking. Okay? They're trying to, but it's very slow. And it's what's keeping them from being as strong as they could be. If they were fully committed, they'd be almost unstoppable because they have the best IP in the world. But they're not fully committed, and it's holding them back. As of right now, Walt Disney Company and Netflix are exactly the same value, basically, on the market. They leapfrog back and forth. They're valued exactly the same. But that's kind of a interesting way to look at it, okay? Because Disney has 150,000 more employees. They have cruise ships. They have theme parks. They have merch. They have better IP. Why is Netflix worth exactly the same as them? It's because the market doesn't think Disney can keep growing at the way Netflix is. That's the long and short of it. If Disney can prove they can grow, if they can prove they can make Disney Plus grow, then they'll shoot up. But right now, they're valued exactly the same. Disney prints money with theme parks? It's because market value is dumb. What do you mean shooting up is bad? Where's Lily on this list? We'll talk about Lily in a second. Netflix theme parks? I think unlikely. I think Netflix is purely focused on content. But anyway, they're valued exactly the same. And they're like flat even. And it'll be interesting to see which one shoots up and which one goes down. You know, who's going to survive of these two? Because they're very close competitors. Speaking of stock market, let's go to the top of the list. Let's go to the very top and look at Apple. Okay? Because while these guys are down here at 34 and 35, there's only one company at number 1, baby. That's Apple. Also, Nvidia's down here, if you notice. If you notice. Apple almost worth $3 trillion. They're the most valuable company on planet Earth. So let's talk about Apple TV. The problem with Apple TV, do you guys remember that video I did about the spoiled rich kid who got really into designing shirts and the shirts all had money bags on them? This guy? Do you remember this guy? This is Apple TV. This is Apple in the streaming wars. It's like a hobby to them. They're the most valuable company on earth. They're rich as hell. But as far as I can tell from looking at their strategy, it's basically just a hobby. It's basically something they do because it seems fun to hang out with celebrities. Okay? Let me give you an example. So far, they've been focused on creating a high-end brand using only originals. So if you probably don't know this because none of you have Apple TV, but if you do, there's not like a ton of movies and shows on there. It's only originals that they've made in the last 2 years. It's all brand new content and it's all original. It's all new. One show, The Morning Show on Apple TV, cost as much to make as the final season of Game of Thrones. So a show that had dragons, CGI dragons, gigantic battlefields, a massive cast, on-site shooting. This show, which is basically set in a small set with a couple actors talking, cost as much. The amount of money they spend on Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston is phenomenally over the top. They're drastically overspending on top talent because to me it seems like they just want to kick it with Hollywood. They've got the money. They think it's cool. They know that Amazon's doing it. They know everyone else is doing it. They don't really have a purpose. Now, I'm not being entirely fair, okay? Their idea is similar to Amazon. The Apple ecosystem, if you're part of the Apple ecosystem, let's say you're, if you got an iPhone, you have the iWatch, you have everything, Apple Watch, that makes them a lot of money, okay? If you're in the Apple ecosystem, that makes them a ton of money. And so if this keeps you in there, technically it's worth it, okay? Because if you like Ted Lasso and it keeps you from switching to Android, you probably get the iPad, the AirPods, and if you're ludicrous, you'll get this diamond-encrusted Apple Watch. Okay, look, I even put Modern Morning Show on it. So you can, they can get you in the system, but it doesn't have the same impact or ruthlessness that Amazon has. And from looking at it closely, it just feels like that's the idea in theory, but not in practice. Because right now, they're the smallest by far. So this is a chart of market share only in the United States, but Apple TV doesn't operate globally as well as other competitors. So Peacock has a slightly bigger market share than Apple TV. Apple TV is by far the smallest of the streaming services. It has no real adoption. None of their shows have reached mass cultural consciousness. Ted Lasso season 1 was the best they had, but season 2 was kind of a letdown. And it just hasn't been a good driver. So far, nobody's really decided to go into the Apple world because of that. They go to Apple world because it's good. They love the iPhone. They love the AirPods. They love all of that. They don't really care about the content. The content's not really changing hearts and minds. And so what it seems like to me is that Apple TV is the equivalent of Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, spending hundreds of millions of dollars to buy Tidal. He just wants to hang out with Jay-Z. That's it, bro. Tidal is a failed music service. He only bought it because he likes hanging out with Jay-Z on a boat with his family. That's it. When you're a super rich mega billionaire, you want the clout of hanging out with Jay-Z. That's it. There's no real reason to own Tidal. Tidal's not doing anything. And so that's exactly what Apple TV is it feels like. It feels like Apple executives think of themselves as cool. They want to be cool. They want to hang out with celebrities. They want to make shows. Everyone else is doing it. They have the money. It doesn't cost them anything because they're so profitable. Why not lose a little bit of money on it? But it's not profitable. It's not working. And it remains to be seen whether they'll allow the losses for too much longer. So that's Apple TV. Let's talk about. Yeah, I almost didn't include these guys, but I'm going to. I want to talk about Roku. I asked Quack to get me. I don't even know much about Roku. I asked him to get me the Roku intro screen. Does anybody recognize this? Because that's ugly as sin. I hate it. I don't like it at all. But I'm including Roku because I want to keep this jungle metaphor going, you know? Netflix is the lion, king of the jungle. Amazon's the 800-pound gorilla. Disney, the house of mouse. Roku is the buzzard. The buzzard. They're the vulture. They pick off the carcass of the dead and actually make some great profits. If you guys don't know Roku, it's like almost like a stream stick. You can, like, if you're, let's say, an old person and you want to watch streaming services on your TV, you can just put in the stream stick of Roku and you can watch Netflix or anything you want. And also Roku has their own streaming service. And, or you can have it built in, Roku TVs. And it turns out that Roku has been actually quite successful. During the pandemic, right around the time when vaccines started to get widely distributed and people started going back to normalcy, or this is pre-Omicron, because we're now back to lockdown, but for a while there, it was seeming like things might be getting back to normal. Traditional TV keeps declining. Netflix and everyone else started declining a little bit because everyone started going outside again. They weren't stuck inside on lockdown. They started going outside again. But Roku kept shooting up. Roku has continued to grow because Roku offers a really easy way to just watch streaming services on your TV. It's very popular. Roku TVs are quite popular. They have a great remote. They're simple. They're cheap. And it turns out that's what most people want. So Roku's been pretty successful, and they don't make their own content really. But what they do is they buy absolutely cheap stuff. And that brings us back to our favorite company, Quibi. Quibi, I have a separate Marketing Monday video on it. You should check it out. They raised about $2 billion to make 15-second videos for Zoomer, 15-minute videos for Zoomers. They failed spectacularly. It was one of the biggest dumpster fires in history. They lost all of that money. And now, as of a few months ago, Roku bought the entire Quibi library for 1/17 of what it cost to make. Which means there is now a place you can watch Chance the Rapper's punk show outside of Risky Reels, which was until recently the only place you could watch it. You can finally get Roku TV and watch it. Now, I still think they probably overpaid. This content is so bad. They probably still overpaid at 1/17 the cost, but they did buy it. And Roku has been going around with a little bit of extra money from the markets, and they're under the radar. Again, they're kind of like the Dollar Tree of this competition, okay? They don't need to beat Walmart and Target. They just need to grab some cheap stuff, sell it cheaply, and make a profit. And that's what they're doing. Roku is the buzzard, and honestly, it might be a decent investment play. They're doing well. They probably won't die, and they don't have gigantic ambitions. They're not spending billions on content. They're not going into debt. They're profitable. So I'm actually kind of impressed with Roku the more I looked into it. As a business, not as a streaming service. I'll never get it in my life, but as a business, they're pretty. It's perfect for broke college kids. Yeah, it's perfect for broke anybody. It's just a good broke streaming service. And guess what? Everyone's kind of getting broke. You know, the market is bifurcating into stuff for like ultra wealthy, and then everyone else is kind of broke. So it's not a bad deal. Roku's not a bad deal. And they're doing kind of well as a business. So I wanted to give them a shout out. Let's talk about, oh, wait, I'm sorry. I wanted to say one thing. I'm sorry. This is a kind of a spoiler. Pretend you didn't see that. Because I wanted to say, listen, let's actually go full screen with this. Earlier in this breakdown, let's go. Let me talk to you for a second. And then we're going to do one more question. Earlier in this breakdown, I referred to Netflix as the lion, the king of the jungle. Okay? It's not entirely true. Okay? They're just an animal. There's an animal out there that even lions fear. A terrible predator that stalks the jungle and dominates anything in its path. I'm talking, of course, about the mighty Peacock. I mentioned before the power of first mover advantages, what Netflix has. But we need to talk about what's more important, the last mover advantage, which is nothing. That's nothing. Peacock is the latest to the party and has no advantage at all, which means they're probably dead. Yeah, this is dead in the water. They lost $914 million in their first year of operation with all of these shows. Like The Office is one of the most demanded streaming shows of all time. And it did not seem to expected. Yeah, the losses were expected by the company. Yeah, but they've continued into this year and they show no path to changing. Again, if these shows didn't do it, they're not getting more popular. They're obviously very popular shows, but they're not growing, okay? And they don't have any new stuff coming. So, and this was an article from recently this year. Peacock shows take flight. Their originals have had no demand. So they launched with some really great legacy shows, The Office, Parks and Rec, but then their originals sucked. So if you don't have good originals, you can't keep growing. The Office doesn't get more popular. Which means Peacock is, like I said, dead. I think they're dead in the water. They just don't have the heft. They don't have the ability to create great originals, and they don't have the money. Tech companies are just so much richer. NBC is not Amazon. NBC is not Apple. They can't toss around money the way these big tech companies can, and they don't have the creative power to beat HBO. But you know who does? Paramount Plus. Because guess what? Paramount Plus may be exactly the same as Peacock, but probably worse. But they have one key difference. They have one thing that makes them able to weather any storm. And that, my friends, is Nathan Stans. As long as Nathan Stans wants to scam the world by watching Survivor episodes live on Twitch openly, they'll always have at least one paying customer. And as long as they got Stans, I literally think Stans might be their only guy. I think their entire market is Mizkif and Stans just openly pirating shows on Twitch. That and Star Trek fans. I actually looked into it. So to get slightly serious, to get slightly serious, they have families that watch Nick and they have Star Trek nerds. And that's basically all they've gotten so far. That's not big enough to win a streaming war, and that's not big enough to justify the costs of operating service. So again, they are also in trouble. Peacock and Paramount Plus are both in deep trouble, going on almost a full year in business. They are losing tons of money, and they could make a bunch of money by selling. Like if they just sold Survivor to Netflix, they'd make a bunch of money. But they want to make even more by getting a big streaming service, but I don't think it's going to work. It's not working so far. So those are our key competitors. Let me take a final stop here and figure out where we're headed. I wanted a very poignant image to sum up the whole streaming war that we talked about, all the different competitors. And so all I could get was this, which is a couple of loose $20 bills on a laptop. Is this powerful? Does this sum it up? Does this feel like it really, does this, there's money and does that sum it up? I wanted to sum up with some predictions of where I think we're going based on these analyses. Okay? I think the biggest upside, I looked at all the data, I looked at all the streaming services. The biggest winners, the biggest upside, Prime and Netflix. These guys, if their strategy works, if they keep executing well, if everything goes wrong, these guys are the biggest upside, the biggest chances to do super well. Netflix and Amazon Prime have been killing it. And the way they're doing business, their strategy seems the smartest. It seems like the most effective to their business. It's the best way to make money. Netflix is going to dominate content, have low churn, and raise prices. Prime Video is going to keep prices low, get infinite amounts of content, and keep you stuck in Prime. These are good business models, and they seem to be working. The safest bet, though, is probably Disney, because you can't really bet against the biggest movies in the world for the past 10 years. They clearly are a cut above everybody else in the world at making movies people want to watch. And so as long as you have amazing content, and also they've proven they can do it with like Loki and WandaVision and TV shows. So they know they can do it with TV shows, they can do it with movies. They're just better at making content. For whatever reason, they can make mass-produced, big, broad blockbuster content people love. So Disney's safe. That doesn't mean Disney will have massive success, but they're the safe bet. They're probably not going to go anywhere. Everyone else, other than those three companies, is missing something. They need to make some changes. Everyone else other than those three is kind of in trouble going forward, because these are fierce competitors. These three companies are fierce ass competitors, and if you're not one of these three, it's going to get harder and harder for you. So my prediction is that almost all of them are going to look to either merge or acquire someone else to get bigger. HBO Max and Discovery are already merging. This is already confirmed. The deal's finalized in mid of next year. So all the Discovery stuff, Discovery's a smaller streaming service, but it's merging with HBO Max to add even more content. They're trying to get bigger. Everyone's got to bulk up to fight Amazon, Netflix, and Disney, basically. And my prediction, I want to end this with a prediction. Peacock and Paramount will merge. That's my prediction. I think these two are so small and insignificant on their own, but with their heads together, they can be small and significant together. They're still going to die. They're going to merge, last a few more years, and then die. That is my prediction. I think they need the combined heft of each other's services to have any impact, and then call them PP Plus. Yeah, we'll call them PP Plus. That is you guys should be branding experts. That is a genius. No, Paracock. That's a good one too. Thank you. Oh God, you know what? They can't do worse than hiring you guys. They can't do worse. Paracock, PP Plus, whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty sure this is what is headed for them. And that, my friends, is the streaming wars. Let's go back to this slide. Do you have any? Wait. And who's winning and who's losing and how's it going? If you have any questions, I know a lot that I couldn't fit into this presentation, so I'm happy to discuss it now. But first, I'd like to do a quick question from our friends at Lily Bank. Lily Bank, do you have another question we could ask the chat? True or false? More than 50% of freelancers overpay on their taxes. Do you guys think that's true or false? I'll give you a hint. No. Well, you know what? It's weird because someone like Ludwig underpays. But on average, it's drastically overpaid. It's true. Myself included. If you are a freelancer or a side hustler, you almost assuredly overpay on your taxes. There is a lot more you could be writing off than you do. And an app like Lily, a banking app like Lily, can really help with that. So if you are interested, please check them out in the link in the description below. They are a phenomenal, helpful app for anyone who's a freelancer. Again, they have a ton of helpful services. They're really easy to use. It's very clean, simple, intuitive interface. And I found I quite like them so far. And I'm going to use them for myself. I'm going to give them a try because I'm having a challenge. This is a challenge for me to keep all my business and personal expenses separate. So thank you, Lily, again, for supporting Marketing Monday, for sponsoring this show. And hopefully we can do more with them in the future. But please check them out if you would like. It's in the link in the description below. Can I get a couple Drakes for Lily? Thanks for supporting. I do appreciate it. It's been a long time coming for some brands to take a chance on Marketing Monday, and I'm glad that Lily has taken the leap. And they went all out with this they've got this whole overlay and everything, and it's nice. It's a cool integration. It feels like it's authentic, and I don't feel like I have to, shill Raid Shadow Legends. I can talk about something I actually believe in. So it's cool. Thank you, Lily. And I guess it helps that I told everybody to call me Lily for a long time. I think there's a good track record. So check them out. And that is that for this episode of Marketing Monday on the streaming services. Although I'm open to answer any questions and also just shoot the shit and talk for a bit. I have some more stuff I want to mention, but I think I got over the main topics. I think if you watch this Marketing Monday, you have a general idea of like how the streaming services differ, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and who's coming out on top. You figured about piracy? Actually, I thought piracy was a bigger impact. It's not. Piracy is on the downswing. I know that everybody says, like everyone in my chat, you know, people that are hyper connected on Twitch is like, oh yeah, there's so many streaming services, I'm gonna start pirating, but they don't really. They don't pirate as much as you'd think. Piracy has been declining basically every year. What does happen, and I didn't mention this, you know, actually, tell me if this is true. What everyone is starting to run into is that people just sign up for a service, watch exactly one show during a free trial, and then quit. That, I don't know if you guys have done this. I've done this. This is apparently massively on the rise, and it's applying to basically everybody but Netflix. And they're starting to freak out. They're starting to freak out because, like, for example, let me try to get a good example. What's a show that people have done this for? Give me an example. What show have you done this for? Umbrella Academy. Ted Lasso is a great example. I did it for Ted Lasso. I watched season 1 of Ted Lasso, and it was entirely through the free trial, and then I canceled. The Boys, South Park. Yeah, so what happens is they'll release a new show that people want to watch, like South Park or The Boys or Ted Lasso. Everyone signs up with a free trial. They watch it, and the company reports to Wall Street, we got insane subscriber growth. Everything is looking great. A bunch of people are signing up. This is awesome. And if they keep in the service for the next 18 months, we're going to make a bunch of money. And then the next month, they're all gone. And then Wall Street's like, okay, where's that money you promised? Where's the growth? And now they have to start like lying or being shady about it. They have to start saying like, well, you know, we kept 18% of those people, which means if you add that up and carry the one and our next show's coming and you do that again and again, we're going to get 300 million subscribers. They're getting real flexible with the math because a lot of them had early good starts. Paramount Plus, Peacock, HBO, all these services have had good months here and there, and they're using these as trend lines for a future that doesn't exist because people are literally just scavenging the parts they need. And so that is the big consumer change. That's the future we're headed to, is that customers are getting more savvy about abusing free trials and 1 month payments to buy everything. Because if you think about it, look, if I want to watch Lost, I could buy the DVD box set for like $100 for all the DVDs, or I could spend $8, subscribe to the streaming service, watch it all, and cancel. And so people are kind of abusing. The general philosophy was that everyone would be like Netflix, and if you signed up, you'd stay. But people are not staying. How big important is the American market compared to the international? It's the biggest right now, but it's also the most competitive. So the American market is where everyone's fighting for, except for Netflix. But it means everything's expensive, and it's really hard to make any gains. American consumers are pretty good about playing multiple services off each other, free trial abusing, churning, and it just feels like no one can really get a foothold that's dominant outside of Netflix. So the rest of the world's where it's at. Why can't Disney just try one release being Disney Plus exclusive? Well, they sort of did with Black Widow, right? And it wasn't that successful. Wasn't Black Widow same day release on Disney Plus? Either way, they just can't try it because they would lose so much money. The movies cost a lot of money to make, and they make so much money off theatrical releases and time delay and costing extra that they're just having a tough time getting the stones to try it out. You had to pay separate? Yeah, then there you go. Yeah, exactly. So they haven't even tried it yet, unlike HBO Max. You should talk about Hulu is with Disney? Yeah. Hulu is just Disney owns Hulu to keep content that's not brand appropriate for Disney Plus, or content that is under weird contracts that can't be on Disney. For example, I think like there's like a lot of TV shows that are on Hulu that have been there as part of legacy contracts from back before Hulu was owned by Disney. But Hulu is not a winner of the streaming war. Hulu is not going to last, you know. Hulu might stick around as like a place to hold stuff, but eventually all of its content is going to be pulled elsewhere. Do cable services stand any chance against these guys? No. Cable is dead. Cable is dead and dying. They're selling all their content off to streaming services. They're losing subscribers every month. Sports is finally not holding them up. For a while, sports was the only thing keeping cable going, and now sports is not even doing it. We'll talk about that more in a future Marketing Monday, but yeah, cable is dead. Cable's on its way out. And eventually, the main thing is that for the longest time, nobody could outbid cable companies on sports. But finally, like Amazon and big tech companies are starting to. Like YouTube and Amazon are outbidding cable companies on sports rights, and it's changing the game. Because once they lose sports, they literally have nothing. Damn, a lot of questions. Did you talk about anime? I didn't talk about Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll's not big enough to have a major impact, but it is. Look, there's like a ton. When I was doing research for this, I found out there's like 100 more small services. Like there's like DC Universe Online. There's Crunchyroll. There's a bunch of tiny niche streaming services. There's one that's called like what's the British one? It's called like BritBox or something. Fight TV, Nebula. You know, there's a bunch of them, and those are just basically niche services, and those are for making money off niche audiences. That's it. They're like skeleton crew, small operated services that host a few shows that people want, and they can charge more for them. It's just a way to distribute it because DVDs are dead. That's it. Those are not big players. Crunchyroll's a little bit better because anime is growing, but as far as I know, they were acquired by Sony and are just going to be part of their plans for growing their influence. Why doesn't Disney do more with sports? Well, they do with ESPN. ESPN does a lot with sports. Disney has a problem with trying to keep all of its brands separate but still work together. And so, yeah, they're working on it. I think ESPN does a lot. You can get it bundled with Disney Plus and then get all the ESPN stuff. Why doesn't Disney just buy Marketing Monday? Or too expensive? Good question. They offered, but too expensive. Do you post Marketing Mondays to your YouTube? Yeah, this will be edited and put on YouTube for sure. ESPN Plus is unwatchable. What's bad about it? I actually don't know. Which one do you like the best? Listen, I think Netflix is just the best. I don't think it's like a debate really. I think Netflix has more for your dollar. But actually, I find myself watching a lot of Amazon Prime stuff. In general, they have just a lot of weird stuff that I wouldn't expect them to have that I really enjoy. And then HBO Max I've used for all the live movies, which is kind of amazing. Will cable companies die out? It'll be a long time before they die out, but they're on the way out. They're losing ground every year. Do you really think football will die? Die is a strong word, no, but I just think if you're not growing, you're sort of dying, and they're having trouble growing. But we'll talk about it in a different one. What do you think about football? I don't know too much about it. Do you think streaming services will start buying influencers? They'll start buying influencers to make shows. I guarantee that Netflix, Disney, Amazon, they've all thought about paying an influencer to make a show. It can be cheap. You know, look, listen, Mr. Beast probably is in talks to make a show for Netflix. Probably. That's almost a guarantee. Just based on the likelihood. He's got the impact and the reach. They give him the money to make the show. He makes the content. They release it only on Netflix instead of YouTube. It's genius. Yeah, that's almost a guarantee. I think that's a big growth area. Is influencers. What's this? As a link? Wait, someone's dropping a link. I want to answer these questions. My friend made his marketing 101 final on you. Might be fun to react. Well, let me do I have to do, let me check what, let me check Keith here. What did he say? Sorry, I want to make sure I got everything covered. What happens to traditional programming has existed only on cable, news, daily shows? It either dies, replaced with online, or gets a version on streaming services. Look, daily news watching on cable is like, that's already so boomery. I don't think anyone under 45 is watching daily news on cable. That's already a dying industry. And it's going to be replaced with online variants. People who are Gen Z are going to get their news from Hassan more than, more than fucking CNN. That is the change of the paradigm, okay? You're more likely to see a Hassan show on one of these streaming services or Philly D than you are to see cable news keep growing. Cable news, the average age of a Fox News viewer is 65 plus. That's not, average age is 65. That's not a joke. The average viewer of cable in general is like 58. Okay? Cable is extremely old. So it's not surviving. No, it's all on the way out. Things are changing drastically. Will a streaming service pay for the rights for an esports event? I mean, maybe, but would you watch it there? Seems unlikely. You have to build a brand for it. People go to Twitch to watch esports because that's where all the other esports are. But I don't think you'd go to like Hulu to watch it. I think it would be tough. So no. I mean, they have to sort of, it's like the same with Mixer and Ninja. You can't just buy one and like hope it works. You have to kind of have a whole ecosystem. Okay. Cable dies the minute the last boomer dies. Just a cable executive sitting on the last boomer's grave, a single tear. We had a good run. Thunder Chicken, they give the gifties. Fullest Champ, they give the prime. Srimaha, they give the 10 gifted. Anonymous Gifted, they give the gifted. Thank you guys for supporting Marketing Monday. Appreciate it. What do you think about Amazon and Netflix getting into game streaming? Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I didn't want to include it in this because it's kind of outside of the scope of the streaming wars, but it's very interesting because Netflix has started to see its competition not as these other guys, as Amazon and Disney, but as like Fortnite. Netflix famously said their competition is like everything you spend your time on: TikTok, Fortnite, YouTube, and so they're trying to fight that stuff as well. They want to basically be something you're on all the time. They want all of your time. And so it's interesting future. And so Netflix is getting into game streaming and some other stuff. It's kind of early days for them. It hasn't really shaken out yet. I kind of want to get more data on how it's doing before I make any bold claims. But it is interesting. It's how they see their future going forward. Netflix gaming. What's the difference between Mixer buying Ninja and YouTube buying Ludwig? YouTube bought other people as well. They got ecosystems. And they're trying to get more groups of people. So friends that can stream with friends, like that's the main difference. And also YouTube's got the bigger VOD platform and a lot of differences. Also just better quality, rewind. There's a video on it if you want to watch it. I did one. Won't bundling all these services together make more sense than paying for them all separately, like making cable again? No, that won't make sense because no one will do it. Why would Disney Plus make a bundle with Netflix? They just won't do it. No one, they're competitors. It would make, I mean, who's going to get the bigger cut? It would make it cable too, but it makes no sense. You can't, they're not going to agree to do it. That's the problem. But also, people don't want to spend that much money on cable. The reason they liked streaming services is because they could spend way less to get a bunch of stuff. So now people are going to stick to the ad hoc model where they just basically subscribe to one service, their main service, probably Netflix, and then they just ad hoc buy the others when they want a show. They don't subscribe. When will Netflix contact you to take marketing money to the big screen? Well, it's not really the big screen, is it? It's like the small screen. Netflix is not a theater. Listen, they've reached out, but I'm starting my own streaming services. Atrioc.tv. I think Disney plus Netflix bundle would crush, actually. Of course it would, but they don't want to do it. They're competitors. Yeah, Disney plus Netflix in one bundle would be killer. But you can only get that at Atrioc.tv, which has all the pirated content from Disney and Netflix. Okay, but it makes them more money. It doesn't really. It doesn't. Because they can't double the price. Otherwise, it's not really a bundle at all. It's just buying them both. And if they cut the price, they have to figure out who's taking the cut. Who's losing money. Because right now, they get 100% of it. Disney gets 100% of the revenue from theirs. Netflix gets 100% from theirs. So it would have to grow more than double, which would be a rough ask. What degree did you graduate with? Marketing from the Harvard of the Southwest, Arizona State. I don't know, Atrioc. An Android and Apple phone would crush. Yeah, that's basically what you're saying. Why don't they just release a phone that's Android and Apple? Yeah, they can't, bro. They're competitors. They're trying to win so they can make more money than the other guy. There's also literally, listen, this country is not very good at enforcing antitrust and monopoly rules, but even HBO Max merging with Discovery, I think I showed it on one of these slides. Look, even this, is getting review. Like the government is like, hey, whoa. We wouldn't want an HBO Max Discovery monopoly, would we? And this is under pending review. So it's why it hasn't been immediate. It's been slowed down. And so I think there's no world where Disney or Netflix could merge. Okay, I don't think it would happen. I think it would give them too much market power and it would be blocked. Doesn't this end up worse than cable? Because instead of paying one price for... If you feel like you have to have every piece of content from every platform, then yes, it's worse than cable. You have to spend all this money. That's correct. And I'm not here to say it's going to be better. What I'm here to say is that whoever wins, prices are going up. I want you to know that. Whoever wins this war, no matter what, prices are going up. Because right now, it's unsustainably cheap. Much like how Uber is losing money hand over fist, all streaming services are burning money. They're spending so much money on content, and they're not making it back yet. And so their goal is to get big enough to where you can't leave them. They have a huge library, and then they raise prices. Netflix especially needs to raise prices. But what they're finding out is that as they raise prices, people just start churning out and only subscribing for big shows they want to watch. So it's a tough balance. You forgot Arcane? I didn't mention it, but obviously it's a great show. I mean, I don't know. It's a great show. What do you mean to say? What's the highest price thing Netflix can get away with? Looking, if you watch the 3 Lines Marketing Monday, the ability to raise prices is a function of your perceived value. Netflix is considered very valuable to a lot of people. In this past year, they raised prices 40% in most countries. Netflix has been raising prices already. You can only raise prices like that and still grow if you have a very high perceived value. People have to really think you're delivering a lot of value to their lives. Netflix can still raise prices from here, maybe a little bit, but not too much before they start being questioned and the churn rate goes up. They have to keep adding great shows to keep that. Listen, you drop a Squid Game, you can raise prices. That's basically how it goes. If you have shows everyone's talking about that demand your attention regularly, you can raise prices. The second you start having that, you're fucked. What do you think about how streaming services should copy Netflix's UI? Yeah. So that's one thing I didn't mention that I probably should have, is that one other advantage Netflix has is they have a phenomenal UI. They have a phenomenal UI and amazing use of AI to determine what you want to watch next. They're kind of at the forefront of use. Even like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's all the thumbnails are AI generated and they change based on your preferences. So for example, if you really liked Queen's Gambit and you're scrolling past Peaky Blinders, it will show you a thumbnail that has Anya Taylor-Joy in the thumbnail. Even though she's a bit character in the show, she's not a main character. She's in it for like fucking 4 scenes. It'll put her in the thumbnail. And so you'll be like, oh, let me check that out. They have really, really, really clever thumbnail generation that makes you more likely to watch shows based on what else you've watched. The thumbnails are tailored basically to what your preferences or interests are. They're not the same for every person. I probably should have mentioned that in the thing, but it's like, it's not relevant to the other companies, just Netflix. All my thumbnails on Netflix are guns. You love gun thumbnails? You like YouTubers, yeah. And it's just clean and intuitive. And again, making a good streaming service that works well is hard. And that's why everyone else has kind of struggled at it and they've been so slow. But now they're finally here and the competition is fierce. Why would you want to watch more? It's the same bill? Because you'll quit. If you look back after the end of the month and you're like, I didn't watch that much Netflix, then you'll unsubscribe. But if you watch it a bunch every day and you keep finding new stuff to watch, and you're like, I can't live without it. That's why they do it. They do it because the more you watch Netflix, the less likely you are to cancel it. That's basically it. Netflix's tech is really advanced. Yeah, they're at the forefront. They're in the lead. They should generate custom thumbnails and sell them to you as NFTs. I think you have a great future at Ubisoft. I think you're set, King. Xbox Game Pass is great. Xbox Game Pass is great. Listen, every day that goes by, I'm more impressed with Xbox Game Pass. Really. I think they're just so smart. And I think, I mean, even one smart thing they did was call the PC version PC Game Pass. Because Xbox Game Pass for PC sounded stupid. But you know what? How hard it is for a company not to make a stupid sounding name because they want to keep their branding consistent? I'm just so impressed. It's very fucking hard for a company to be like, oh wait, this is stupid. Let's just call it PC Game Pass. That's hard to do. Most companies will be like, well, we want to keep the Xbox brand cohesive and make. Yeah, it's just smart. It's just smart. It's smart. And they're making smart, consumer-friendly moves, and it's working for them. And since they're kind of in the lead right now for cloud streaming, they might just run away with it. They might get the Netflix of gaming. Yeah, and it's funny because during the Xbox One era, they were the opposite. They did so many things wrong. They like blew their entire lead they had with the 360. But now they're back. It's just crazy. It's really impressive. Is Game Pass making money though? Netflix did not make money until probably this year. I want you guys to know that Netflix has lost money every year of its entire existence until this year. Amazon didn't make money for its first 20 years. I'm pretty sure Netflix is still not 100% profitable. They actually still have a lot of debt overhanging, but they had their first cash flow positive quarter recently. And so we have to understand is that the strategy for all these tech companies is that like getting leadership is more important than making money. You take a bunch of debt on, you lose money to grow. And then once you have a monopoly, once you're big enough that you can't lose, then you raise prices and you start making a lot of money. That's what Amazon did. That's what everyone else is trying to do. That's what Uber's trying to do. Uber loses money. And Netflix is trying to do. And that's what Game Pass is trying to do. And Game Pass can do it even better because Microsoft makes so much fucking money from Office, they don't care. Microsoft is the second most valuable company in the world. They can lose money on Game Pass to hopefully get a dominant position and make money. It's not good for consumers in the long run, but in the short term, we get a lot of juicy stuff for cheap. Is anything good for consumers? Competition. Competition is good for consumers. That's why right now in streaming services, you're getting like, I mean, if you think about it, if I sign up for Netflix and pay what, $15 a month, I am getting like, I'm getting $100+ billion worth of content for $15. They spend $100 billion on directors, actors, producers, movies, filming, years of time, and I spend $15 and get it all. It's a pretty good deal. And that's for a lot of, it's a pretty good schmaz in terms of all of these streaming services. Disney Plus, dude. If you flash back to the early 2000s and I wanted to buy every Star Wars movie, every Marvel movie, every fucking movie, every Pixar movie, that would cost me thousands of dollars in DVDs. And now I spend $9 and I get it on Disney Plus. It's all good for consumers while they're competition. Once one of them wins or starts to get close to winning, that's when you're fucked. That's when prices go way up. If the goal is to get big enough to raise prices, what's stopping every other company from going massively into debt to do the same thing? Is that your question? It kind of scrolled past. To steal that competition. Yeah. What's stopping them is that no one will loan them the money if they don't think it'll work. You have to be good at convincing Wall Street that you can actually do it. That was Amazon's big innovation. Was that they just kept saying Wall Street, hey, we're going to lose money this quarter, but it'll be fine. And every other company, when you say that, they're like, fuck you. But with Amazon, they were like, we'll be fine. They're like, all right, cool, here's the money. And they just kept handing them money. And since Amazon did it, everyone else can be able to do it. But if Wall Street doesn't believe that you can do it, they're not going to give you the money. That's basically the deal. And so if you are saying, let's take on $10 billion of debt and fight Netflix, and your plan doesn't make sense, and you're a peacock or whatever, no one's going to give you the money because no one wants to lose money. No one wants to learn Quibi. Quibi was an example of that. Quibi said, give us $2 billion, we'll beat Netflix. And then they died in the first 2 weeks. So that's what you have to worry about is that no one will give you money. People are afraid. Is YouTube Originals a competitor? It is. And I could talk about YouTube, I guess. YouTube's actually a pretty big deal. I think it's worth mentioning YouTube if I do a follow-up. Because people watch a lot of content on YouTube. Atrioc, would you say your strategy for Twitch is to become Ludwig before Ludwig can become you? What would that mean? I have to get into fucking TikTok watching before he makes a Marketing Monday? Yes. I'm trying to pivot out of fucking... I'm pivoting into TikTok content. Yeah. Yeah. Good plan. Okay. I've been talking nonstop for 2 hours. I'm pretty tired. I'm glad we did the Marketing Monday. I thank you guys for watching. I want to thank my sponsor one more time, Lily Bank. This is my end screen. I think I really appreciate them for supporting me. Again, if you want to just check out their app, the link is in the description below. You get $25 for free if you use the app for at least $250 worth of money. It's sick of them to sponsor Marketing Monday, and I think they are. You also get this cool card. I forgot to mention, you do get a really sick Visa card, a physical one. You get a digital one, which you can use for subscriptions. I forgot to mention that. I don't know if you're like me, but it's very hard to keep track of all the subscriptions you have. For example, for all the streaming services, you can easily put them all on a virtual card and then cancel them at will instead of having them on your regular card and getting lost in the bills. So a lot of cool features worth checking out. Give them a shot. Thanks, Lily, again for the sponsor. Now I'm done, and now I am exhausted. I hope you enjoyed. I have to let you know that I'll probably not be live tomorrow because I'm driving to Arizona to be with my family. I might not be live for a few days because I want to spend some time with family. But I am bringing my setup, so I'll probably still stream from Arizona. I'm thinking of doing a family stream. Real ones remember. Real ones know. I did a family stream back in the day where I asked my dad stuff and my family stuff. You guys can harass my dad about slime. That'll be really funny. Dude, why is my... There. So I'm thinking about doing that. But until the low W Master will return. But until then, nothing major. That's I'm gonna have a few days off. I know I've had a few days off already this week, but we're just out until next year probably. Then I get back to serious grinding on streaming. I've got a bunch of big plans. We're gonna have a Stream Sharks early next year. Can you advise people about 401ks? What's their advice? 401k is really simple. You just put money in and invest in the whole market. My only advice for 401k is if you have a company that matches anything, take it, obviously. That's free money. If there's any 401k matching, take that. Other than that, I don't really care. I mean, it's kind of boring. You just put in money. Oh, yeah, let me watch that video. I'm sorry. Somebody said they used Atrioc as their marketing 101 final. The fuck is this? Friend made his marketing 101 final on Atrioc. Oh, God.
Hi, I'm Howard, and this is my presentation on marketing on Twitch and YouTube. So the person who inspired me to do marketing is Atrioc, or AKA Brandon Ewing. He has a segment on his channel called Marketing Mondays.
I like that you didn't say my marketing name, Glizzy Fingers. It's weird you didn't say that out loud. Were you afraid to say it out loud because it was such a fucking stupid thing to include? Maybe you shouldn't even write it down.
And his marketing nickname that his fans call him is Glizzy Fingers.
Shut the fuck up.
He worked for Twitch, and now he works for NVIDIA.
Shut the fuck up.
And he saw potential in video games.
NVIDIA, not NVIDIA.
Some of the things that Atrioc taught me are that there are issues with market share regulation, and there's potential in esports and other cutting-edge fields for marketing. He taught me to have analytical mindset-driven goals and to be bringing forward the latest medium.
What does that mean?
He taught me to always use analysis.
What is bringing forward the latest medium, Mia? Did I teach you that? Because I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? I don't teach me, dude. I don't know what that means.
And use a social media branch approach.
What?
So my first case study is on a company I found called Splash. It's a longtime industry staple, and it appears to be a recreational fluid. The next personal case study is...
What? The fuck are you talking about? How is that a case study? You just said it appears to be a recreational fluid. That's not a case study. You didn't study anything. You put a logo in there and you said it appears to be something. What the fuck does that mean?
Fluid. The next personal case study is on a channel I found called Vacation Television. And it's run by a company called Spears McKinley. And they're trying to bring cable to online video, which seems weird, but it appears to be working. And they make all of their commercials in-house, as well as the episodes themselves. And I found their website, which has...
Bro, you can't sound so unsure in a case study. You can't be like, I don't know, but it seems to be working. Give me some data. What is it? How is it doing? What's the... You're just describing something you found. This is a spoon. It appears to be made of plastic. There's my case study on spoons. What are you talking about?
Has a timer that counts down. And I have their other social medias listed below. They have Twitch and YouTube and Instagram.
Is it a plug?
So right here is just a few of their episodes. And here's a short clip that we'll watch now.
And not enough about your smell.
Dial. We'll be right back with your regularly scheduled vacation.
Do you think Allison will say yes to the prom?
This is just a sponsored segment.
You. I think you're a bit too worried about your face and not enough about your smell. You need man oil. Man oil gives you a signature scent in seconds. And it's so cheap too. Here, use some of mine. Thanks. Oh, wow.
What am I
now
watching?
Allison will definitely say yes to the prom.
Man oil.
What's happening here?
So in conclusion,
Is there something going on? Am I getting
Atrioc
baffled?
taught me how marketing changes our economic ecosystem.
I didn't teach you shit, bro. Don't put my name on this. Take my name off this presentation. I didn't teach you shit. I taught you nothing. I apologize. I regret it at all.
And how to market through viral campaigning. And to always have a marketing name or nickname. That trend research is half the battle.
Because you think my name is Glizzy Fingers, you think the lesson is always have a marketing name?
And don't doubt something just because it's new. Weird sells. Thank you.
No, thank you. I think we all learned something from that. A plus. A plus. Holy fuck! It's 10:40 and I'm tired as fuck, dude. I'm tired. I've been out here grinding, teaching these kids. Apparently, so he learned so much. What is left to do today? Do I wrap here? Is there anything? Oh, I could do. Oh, we could watch that video Doc sent me. Nah, I don't have the energy for it, Doc. I want to be animated, but I'm dead. I'm tired. I would like to say everybody have a crinky cronchmas. Have an extremely crinky... Nah, I can't even play AoE, dude. I'm probably going to watch AoE on my phone and hang out with Ari. I have to pack, too. I'm driving tomorrow. Guys, I want to thank you all for sticking with the stream. I know this past few weeks have been very often. I've been very Clint Stevens-y. But we got the Marketing Monday done. Thank you to Lily for sponsoring. Thank you guys for the gifted subs and the primes today. I do appreciate it. I'll be back with a lot of stuff, probably in a week or so after I visit Arizona. And going to be doing, I have a lot of stuff planned for the new year. That's going to be pretty cool. So have a Creek Christmas, spend some time with your family if you've got them. And I hope you have a good one. I hope everyone's happy, healthy. I hope if you're getting gifts, you get what you want. I hope there's no fighting, and I hope things go well. That's what I do. I hope. Thank you for supporting, and I'm gonna end now, and I'll see you when I see you. I might do a stream with my family around Christmas. I'll give you guys an update on the Discord. If you're not following Discord, check it out. And we're gonna keep daily uploads. We'll have daily uploads for the rest of the year. I'm dead. I might have COVID, dude. My chest is kind of tight too. I'm worried that I got Omicron. We're gonna find out. I got the, Will Neff. Will Neff got it. And it got me nervous. We'll see. So I'm gonna get a test. I get a test tomorrow. Anyway, Sevens. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna play my outro song.